YouTube is an ever-evolving platform, with different creators becoming word of mouth one minute, and the next, they're gone. For a brief window of time, there seemed to be a rapidly growing channel on the horizon, and not far behind it, there was a fault beneath the channel, just waiting to strike. Zaptie, or Edwin Berg, was born on May 29, 1996 in Manitoba, Canada, though he currently is residing in America. In several videos, Ed has stated that he has been diagnosed with anxiety and major depressive disorder, though he hasn't provided any evidence of this from what I could find. According to Famous Birthdays, Ed was going to law school before going full-time on his Zaptie channel, although before the Zaptie channel, there was another. January 26, 2016, there was a channel created going under the name of Not a Hipster. The About section of the channel reads, "I hate pop music and talk about movies. Currently trying to go for a video every other week." On January 31st, 2016, the first video posted titled 10 Cloverfield Lane and Viral Marketing, which spoke on the film of the same name and the marketing behind it.
For those of you who remember Cloverfield, the 2008 found footage film starring Janice from Mean Girls and Erlich Bachman,
You just brought piss to a shit fight, you little...
a sequel's coming out. In 2 months. March 11th, to be exact. And some of you might be thinking, how the fuck is that even possible? It's 2016! How'd they hide this from us? And to that I say, Lemmy, David Bowie, and Alan Rickman all died from cancer that no one knew they had till their deaths.
Not a Hipster had stopped uploading due to personal reasons, according to a Twitter comment. It's under my belief that Not a Hipster was intended to be a main channel, with Zaptie being a side channel, though it's really hard to prove it.
Well, I was just hot wet soup. What flavor is it? It's hot wet soup!
The Hot Wet Soup podcast was made on June 12th, 2016, with a teaser trailer for the podcast on the same day, and the first episode being uploaded the day after. The podcast was hosted by relatively small channels, Bionic Pig, Elvis the Alien, and Zaptie. The podcast also had very notable YouTube guests such as Killer Keemstar, ColossalIsCrazy, Chris Raygun, Vincent Sear, and many, many others. Closer to the end of the podcast, Zaptie was kicked off of the podcast, and subsequently replaced with Leon Lush, for reasons we'll get into. February 2nd, 2017, Pig and Elvis had I'm Alex on call to talk about the situation with Zaptie. The basic summary of the episode was that Ed had told Alex that he was a diagnosed sociopath.
Ed told me about 4 or 5 days ago now that he was a diagnosed sociopath.
Ed was a pathological liar.
So he says, I told you first. He then goes, no, I didn't. I'm a pathological liar also.
And that he was cheating on multiple girls at once.
Now, he got with and they were in a relationship, and since the beginning, pretty much, from the timelines we've crossed over with all the girls, some we can't name, she was being cheated on with 4 other girls who were 16 and 17 years old.
During late 2016, Ed was dating someone with the Twitter handle Ciphers. According to Alex on the podcast, Ed had been cheating on multiple girls at a time, but from what I could find, only Ciphers really spoke up about it. She'd made a Twitlonger post talking about her side of the story. She said she was 16 at the time, while Ed was 20, and that Ed had manipulated her into sending him, with quotations, nudes. She continues by saying what people don't understand is that they're not nudes. They were revealing and sexually explicit. One photo of her in regular underwear, and one where she has an arm covering her breasts. She had also done a premature Q&A about the topic, in which she said that Ed was planning on going over to her place in late November to have sex with her, and that it was his idea. The link to the full Twitlonger will be in the references document. From what I could find, the other three hadn't provided their sides of the story. Bionic Pig is another commentary YouTube channel who happened to co-host this podcast with Ed. It was pretty obvious from the episode that Pig wasn't too comfortable with where his thoughts were, as Aaron had very fond memories with Ed.
But he came over to my house, and we had a lot of fun, and basically the whole time he's just like talking about how much he loves all of us, and other people can vouch that he always talked so highly of me and my family and how much he loved all of us. And he even told us that he wanted to be called the uncle of my child, like when he's older. He's like, "Do you care if Ezra calls me uncle when he's older and stuff?" And we drank together. We watched movies together. We had fun. And the day he left, haven't spoken a word except podcast.
Before the final episode, Alex and Ed were close. Alex saying that they would spend hours in calls together.
I will vouch for it, and I'm sure others will too. I've been sat in calls with Ed, especially for the last 2 months solid. Every single day, anywhere between 2, 3, 4 hours to 12.
When Alex had heard from Ed that he was a sociopath, Ed asked Ed how this would affect Aaron and Jimmy, and Ed said that he didn't think it would matter.
I called him up the next day. He was about to watch a film, and I said, "Ed, we've got to talk about this. How is this going to affect Aaron and Jimmy? How is it going to affect the Hot Wet Soup lads?" I said to him. And he was like, "I just didn't think it would be a problem, me being a sociopath," was his response.
Alex had also said that he managed to convince Ed to live in the Omnia house, which I can only assume is a house that holds creators contracted by Omnia Media, a YouTube partnership network.
I also got him a place at the Omnia house, which is where I'm moving into now. As a YouTuber, that's a crucial place. All the YouTubers going to be there.
Which conflicts with Ed wanting Pig to move to his area. Ed might have forgotten about that or intended it to mean something different. On February 3rd, 2017, Zaptie had made a short Twitlonger post addressing some of the responses to the final podcast episode. Ed states he didn't think it was a backstab, and if put in their shoes, he would probably do the same thing. He had also stated that nothing in the podcast was allegations, and that he asked the community not to jump to conclusions. Although 10 days later, Ed made a quite lengthy Twitlonger post in which he further elaborates his full thoughts on the subject. According to him, Alex had misquoted him, and the exact wording was he was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. Though, he never provided a doctor's diagnosis for anything. He even changed his personality to fit this made-up narrative. To quote Ed directly, quote, "But it was a lie. I was sticking by tooth and nail, even trying to change my personality to pretend I wasn't feeling things that I was. I feel guilt and I feel empathy, and I was pretending not to suit a narrative I made up." Ed openly recognizes and apologizes for the fact that he took advantage of the power dynamic with the girls. He also understands that the actions he committed are not excusable and the pain he has caused is going to be difficult to undo. He said in the Twitlonger that he sent out personalized apologies to all of the people he's harmed that haven't blocked him. On June 29th, 2017, he made a Reddit post titled "Enough," in which he speaks about the rumor that one of the girls he was dating was 13. Quote, "It's worth noting that I found out about that information through someone who, keep with me here, heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone. 5 degrees of separation. Upon learning that, I spent the night vomiting. He does follow up on the twit longer, saying that he's in a better place now than he was then, and also mentions that he was planning on deleting the channel soon, but didn't because he thought he was still contracted by Omnia. According to Social Blade, at the start of September of 2018, Zaptie had purged 1.78 million views from his channel, though actually looking at his channel you can see old videos in playlists. So instead of purging his channel, he evidently just unlisted the videos. On November 23rd of 2018, Zaptie uploaded a video titled Halloween H40, 40 Years Later, in which he was going back to his roots and talking about movies, specifically the Halloween franchise. At the time of writing, he hasn't reactivated his Twitter, nor has he made a part 2 to the Halloween H40 video, although we do learn that his full name is revealed in this video, Edwin Berg. Ed has definitely made a massive stain on the Zaptie name that walking away from, evidenced from Twitter, did not make any better. Zaptie's return has been met with strangely genuine welcome and also genuine confusion. The latter is probably due to the Reddit post, as he said he had 2 jobs and he's pursuing other things. Quote, YouTube is over, though it's evident that wasn't true as he came back in November. Overall, it's truly an unfortunate reality he lives in, but it's a reality he